Welcome back to Diary of a Speed Reader. Today's book is Mindfulness in Action by Chöngyam Trungpa, and I'm giving it 4 stars. This week I've been looking into books on mindfulness, and it really does cross philosophy, psychiatry, every single religion, spirituality. I mean, it's really one of the most complicated, simple ideas that I have ever investigated. Today's book is a little bit different in that it talks about how mindfulness improves your relationship with self and how that's really important to expansiveness for concepts like generosity, compassion, etc. The way that it frames out these words is just fantastic. And I'm going to give you 3 takeaways out of a book that probably has many, many more than that. But before we go into that, Diary of a Speed Reader is going to shift to YouTube after the 100th day of the challenge. I would be so appreciative if you'd go on YouTube and subscribe to my channel. It's just Diary of a Speed Reader, or alternatively, you can look in my bio and you will find the link there. Now let's get into what made this book so cool. The first thing has to do with the idea that the goal of meditation is to become friends with yourself. Now that's much deeper than you think. The idea is that once you are in that gap, in that silence, just in your own mind trying to live in the moment, then in all of that, you must become okay with you. You have to get to know you. The thoughts that go through your head crazy while you're sitting there silently not trying to respond, those are you. And in knowing you, there is so much power. But so often we in modern life are always on the go, always trying to be busy, always trying to be on our phone, even playing games. And that distracts us from getting to know who we really are, to really listen to what we are saying to ourselves. I think that's so phenomenal to think of meditation that way. The second thing has to do with this book's concept of being alone. And so often loneliness and being alone is presented in the negative. Here, there is a joy of being alone, and that comes from having that friendship with yourself. It additionally adds to some of the other books that we've been talking about that help describe what you do with the negative emotions, how you process them, how you should think about it as relates to self. And I just think it's so intriguing, particularly in this time of quarantine when a lot of people are going to be a little bit concerned about that loneliness feeling creeping up in them. The book reminds you that we both come into the earth and leave the earth alone, and that, to the extent that we can use meditation, prayer, things like that to become at peace with ourselves, this is just going to bring out our inner joy. The last thing that the book talks about that I just think is phenomenal is the expansiveness of generosity that comes from being cool with ourselves. And it really talks about the idea that that friendship, that compassion to ourselves expands to others, that it's in that strength that we can experience things like generosity, and that none of it actually comes from a concept of logic. Like logic on our way through our friendship with ourselves is not the right way to do it. Generosity is both ways. You're being generous, but the ability to accept that generosity also is a pleasurable feeling. You gotta read it. I'm probably doing not the best job of describing it, but it's such a fascinating and different take on how meditation facilitates all of these concepts. Speed reading stats, this book is 209 pages. It took me 47 minutes to read. If you'd like to learn more about speed reading, feel free to comment below. Additionally, I'd like to thank the New York Public Library for having so many books available on e-reader during this period of time. It is a saving grace. Thank you for liking, sharing, joining my YouTube channel, helping me in any way, shape, or form. I appreciate you, and I will see you tomorrow.